Stop treating me like a joke, damn it! I've got a new technique! Which I probably could have used earlier and maybe saved all of our friends' lives. But that's beside the point! Get ready for my Destructo Disc!
Lame.
Now, take this!
Ooh, a frisbee, Vegeta. Nappa, no! It's a trick! But Vegeta, tricks are for kids. You know what, Nappa? On second thought, catch it. Catch it with your teeth. Yay! Like a doggy. Ow! Ow! Ricola! Oh, God damn it!
Hello everyone, JWR here, and yeah, that was an interesting little intro, but it goes well with the topic today. Today I want to talk about techniques and spells. In some technical points, it's kind of hard to tell the difference between a technique and a spell. Spells, you actually have to use an incantation in one direct way. Where techniques, you can obviously talk trash or talk whatever you want to talk about and then let it fly. Once you say its name, it seems to be all good and gravy. Granted, the abridged series from Dragon Ball, they kind of showed how a technique usually goes. How if you watch Dragon Ball itself, it shows how techniques go. Where Naruto has additional chakra slash what Ninja Gaiden use as Nippon, things like that, where they tap into the mystical realm to use such abilities. So you consider already by default there's a lot of similarities. They each have a charge up time, they each have their own prerequisites. Apparently certain stances had to be used for certain abilities, or techniques, techniques and spells. So, with that being said, let's actually look for differences between techniques and spells. Okay? Let's just hope we can find enough of a difference to where we can actually set it apart. Okay, Nippon, spell, technique. Although we know Nippon and spells, they're about the same thing, so we'll classify that just as magic, because of course spells are spells, magic is magic. We'll classify that as magic, and we'll worry to see if we can separate the techniques away enough from the magic to where they can be completely different. So, with that being said, let us go with what should we work with first, techniques or spells? I need a coin. Yep, came up heads. So we're talking about techniques first. Alright. Now for those of you who watch Dragon Ball Z, played games like Jade Empire, I want to say it is, techniques come off in different ways. There are techniques to enhance your abilities, pretty much enhancing techniques, offensive techniques, and defensive techniques. Usually one of three. Everything's based around three. What the fuck? Three? Three. Okay, let's start with the enhancing techniques. What are those? Enhancing techniques are like in Dragon Ball, Kaioken, which Goku uses to enhance his abilities, his stats and such, to get more of an edge in combat. Usually he uses it to catch up to people, as opposed to get an advantage. Now, in Jade Empire they have a bunch of other techniques that, like Stone Body, Cotton Belly. You know these techniques from old Chinese or Asian kung fu movies. You know, when someone's like fighting and they punch a guy and it goes into his stomach and he just kind of sits there like, that's actually a technique. And good news about techniques, you don't actually have to sit there and you don't have to do that kind of charge time with your hands. However, some offensive techniques, well, yeah. You got Hadouken and Kamehameha that look identical, I kid you not. You got both of them. Here, let me help real quick. Let me show you what I mean. Let me get this. Both of them have startup, which is back here. Where, if I do it this way, they have the little hands cupped. Cupped like so, cupped like so, cupped like so. But in both cases, they both start out, they lean back, and they power it up back here. Now, this is both Kamehameha and Hadouken. Why the back here? I don't know. I agree with Vegeta. If you're going to be open, arms open, or put your hands out in front, and then do it. But no, they usually come back, and I know you all seen this in every freaking game, but they come back, and of course, that's how they do their ability. Now, this is why I get confused in saying it might also be a spell. Think about it. What does Goku do? For the Kamehameha, let's give an example. He sits there. Kamehameha. Okay, see, as he's saying this, that's like in Naruto. Where Trunks is sitting there doing the same shit. Ayani's doing the same shit over in DOA. And you see, that is where I'm getting confused. Because all these have that same charge time and they're all chanting something. Granted, Kamehameha is far shorter than okay, granted, Kamehameha is a lot shorter. Or a lot longer, depending on how Goku feels. I mean, hell, he can do Kamehameha and have Kamehameha last a minute and a half. So, I am going to go on record and say I no longer like the hand drive. I don't like that. I do not like that sort of thing. Hand jive. Maybe that's a technique all by itself. Yes. Yes. Back on point. You see, most of the offensive techniques used for offense, often have some sort of chanting like spell. Most magic spells have the same thing. Hell, most Nippon/chakra things have about the same thing, where there's a whole bunch of charge up time and hand manipulation to get it going. Now, I'll discuss this question in spells itself later, but for techniques, what are defensive techniques? I mean, I've gone over enhancing and I've gone over offensive, but I haven't gone over defensive yet. So let me go ahead and do that. For those of you who... I use Dragon Ball Z a lot because they're the ones that have a lot of techniques. That's what they say, it's all techniques. You got Destructo Disc, which we started the video with. And they have most of their techniques come off as offense. Duh. But they have a defensive technique in there known as the Energy Shield. Gohan, of course, is one that uses the Energy Shield a lot. He used it in the future version, he used it in his current version. I think his future version used it against the androids to block a bunch of shots. While his normal version was mostly for the movies, for fighting Broly, to try to debuff most of the blasts that came at him. So not everyone outright died. Broly himself has an energy shield, which is far more effective because of his power. So, Defense-wise, energy shields seem to be like their number one thing. Now, why do I bring this up as a question on techniques and spells? Because you'll notice that every technique, at least in Dragon Ball and many games, many techniques actually have some sort of triggering phrase. Kamehame. The triggering phrase is Ha. The Hadouken is draw across the board. Hadou, and he throws it on Ken. No, not. Well, sometimes he throws it on Ken, but sometimes it's just on the word Ken. It's Hadouken. So, you see already there's similarities, but the difference between the techniques and spells so far happens to be techniques, as you saw in the opening or in an intro. The techniques, you're able to do whatever speed you want as long as you make sure the technique name is in there. It's pretty straightforward. If you're going to be doing, say, a Hadouken, you put your hands back there and be like, okay, you know what? I'm putting you down for good. Hadouken! Krillin in the intro did what I was talking about. He had his hand up, started charging technique, and he's like, okay, I have a new technique, and this probably could have saved all of our friends if I used it from the start. However, I'm not going to worry about that now. So prepare yourself for my Destructo Disc. The technique name was still in his little speech, which made it okay to use. So, we will now carry on to the bagel shop. No more for me right now. No more for me. No, we're not going to a bagel shop. We're going on to spells. We're going to see if we can find enough of a difference between spells and techniques to keep them separated. Or we're just going to find out if that's just another name. Okay? Okay, qualities of spells. Now, for those of you who've watched Charmed, Magical Girl M, played any video games with spells, Slayers, you see where I'm getting with this. Most things with actual spells, there's a reason behind it. And the spells are usually usually either elaborate and over the top, or they're just simply spells. Spells like techniques come in three ways: enhancing, defense, and offense. Most of the notable spells are basic Fireball, Banish, things like that. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because Chakra and Nippon, or however it is enunciated, well, the way that works is those two things are like in the middle of spells. Pretty much, if you start one, like a spell, if you start one and you get interrupted, it's done. You gotta start from the beginning to catch it back up. Now, hardcore spells, actual spells, you don't have to do the 5,000 finger thingy to get it to go boom. But you are incanting and you're trying to bring whatever source you need to you to make it do its job. So, like Fireball, you'd sit there and it's usually some kind of, it's a long trail of, well, I can't even say it's a long trail. It's just an incantation. So, an incantation is simple. It could be from may the flames of hell burn your dumb ass to a crisp, down to yes, it's a typhoon of lovely, lovely ice coming to hit you in the face for about 3 weeks. More. Again. But the incantation has to be pretty much constant for each one. So, what does this really mean? Like, big spells? I think her name was Luna? I'm not sure. But she had a spell which was a long freaking spell. I guess she got from Shabanigdo or whatever. But the spell pretty much was to kill anything alive, short of the guy itself. So, you have spells that go for like an hour and a half to 2 of just describing it. It's just describing the spell. Like the flame. Okay. If I had a clip from Slayers to show what I'm talking about, it would probably make a lot more sense. Those of you who watch Charmed, you pretty much get the idea. You would sit there. If it's 3 people, great, but if it's a spell in the Charmed universe, it's gotta rhyme. It's gotta rhyme. Like, I wish you not at my door. I wish your face in the floor. And the person falls over and hits the floor. Something like that. No, I'm not a screenwriter. I'm not going to be able to come up with spells off the top of my head that rhyme. Sorry. I'm not the Headless Horseman from WoW. I don't rhyme everything. Okay, so with that in mind, we're going to look over, and the basic spells of fire is pretty much, I don't need a match, I don't need a light, I'm going to throw this into the fight. And it's a fireball. So, with that being said, spells really rely on the incantation. You have to pretty much use it. If you do not use the whole incantation, it doesn't count. So, why do I kind of chuckle about this? Because you could be evil. You could be really, 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 really evil about this. So, when we're thinking about this, when we're considering things, spells are a little bit more detrimental than... Oh, I can't say that. Spells are meant to be more powerful than most abilities, or most techniques. Only because the charge time is different. That's it, that's the only reason. Yeah, if you compare everything, you'll see that it's not... You'll see it's not exactly... Spells have a longer charge time, and they don't seem as strong as most techniques. Maybe it's because I'm comparing like 2 opposite sides. I mean, in the spell universe, Luna's Slayer spell is pretty much the top thing. It's it. If you use that, you've killed whatever it's going to hit. So, like I said, maybe it's just because I'm comparing 2 opposite sides here. But don't count spells out. Spells are very good. Spells are helpful. Spells usually, their enhancement and defensive spells usually last a little bit longer than the techniques. Reason being is because that's what they're designed for. Spells are very good for offense, but they are very... It's to prep things. You gotta... It depends what show you watch. It's very, very weird. No. Spells always have that little fluctuation, which is why it gets confusing about Nippon and Chakra, because they kind of go between spell and technique. They go between them. like Nippon from Ninja Gaiden, whatever. So yeah, I'm going to refer to it that way. But his Nippon is definitely Nippon. It's definitely under spells, because he sits there, he does a quick incantation, does what he needs to do, and carries on. Yes, he has defensive, he has offensive, and he has stuff that literally moves the earth under him so he can fight things in the air. Who the hell knew? Now, with all that said, you can definitely tell that Nippon is definitely under magic. Chakra is the one between spell and technique. In spells, you pretty much have to do the incantation. You have to. If you don't do the incantation, it doesn't work. Period. So, let's leave it at that, and maybe you guys can find, hopefully someone out there has seen a lot more magical shows than I have. I'll put it out like this. Sailor Moon, most of their finishing abilities are techniques. Okay? We'll leave it like that. Because they're not exactly spells. They're mostly techniques. Meanwhile, you got stuff like Charmed, where it's always rhyming. However, in Charmed, you can actually pause in between your set as long as you go back to it. I think they have a little statute of limitations on how long they have to make that spell completed. Once they stop it, like the whole door floor thing I did at the beginning, I not wish you at the door, and then someone comes up, hey, where's the cheese at? They can actually stop there and go, oh, cheese is over in the fridge, the green fridge, not the blue one. Yeah, that one. Okay. I wish your ass on the floor. And they're down. Meanwhile, in Slayers, you cannot stop that spell. Once you start it, you better commit to the spell. So, I know, now that we look at it, it's not like it's completely different. There are some differences and some similarities. For those of you who play WoW, use a mage and take on, say, a warrior. Warriors have shouts, and they have other abilities. They don't have techniques per se, but they have abilities. And as a mage, you know you gotta cast stuff quickly. You can't sit there and, I'm going to nuke the world, hit you all, put you in a toilet bowl, and pray for the best, and blast you all. You don't have that option. The only option you do have is quick shots, neutralize, quick spells, and instant spells are those that you pretty much memorize down to what you need to fire. That's it! That's all you need. I mean, it's really simple. So, with that being said, I'm going to leave y'all at that for the discussion. I'm sorry I don't watch enough shows with magic to actually have a better description on spreading it out. But, like I said, techniques seem more readily used. And you don't need to worry about being interrupted when using a technique half the time. Unless your technique is a long charge, then yes, you're going to worry about being interrupted. Meanwhile, spells are a little quicker, but their charge time makes up for it for being longer. So, I wish I knew more about magic spells, but even when I roleplay, most of my stuff is over, well, techniques. Though most of my characters do know spells, they kind of refrain from using them because most of the spells, if you're using a spell, that's it. You are committed to that spell. That means you know what the consequence is going to be, and you're going to do it anyway. That's like having the red button of doom and knowing that if you push the red button, it's going to destroy everything. and yet you were sitting here looking at it. But I'm gonna go ahead and leave y'all with that. Discuss, have fun with it. After that though, I don't know. Have a good day. Later. Sorry, I'm looking at that part of the computer because I don't have a stop button at center anymore. Oh, I need a stop button, like, right? Yeah. That would be awesome. That would be like an ultimate technique. Beep! Okay. Night, everybody.